Well, good morning. It's Stacy, and I am here today to show you how to make sourdough bread. Sourdough bread is pretty awesome. It's really popular right now because we're all stuck inside and we have the time to make sourdough bread. Sourdough bread is started basically by mixing flour and water together. You can find really great tips on how to make sourdough on the King Arthur Flour website. They have step-by-step instructions for how to start your own starter, your own sourdough starter, and how to bake and troubleshoot and all the things you might have to do. The other way to basically make sourdough bread is to be lucky enough to get starter from someone else. And that's what happened for me. Our local coffee shop, Horseshoe Cafe, was giving away samples of their sourdough starter. I brought it home. I've been playing with it for the last 2 weeks, and overall it's been going great. I've made bread, made cinnamon rolls. You have to feed your sourdough and then discard part of it every single time you feed it, and from the discard I've made pumpkin bread. Lots of different things you can do with sourdough. The other great thing about sourdough is you don't need yeast. As we know, the basic principles of bread is it rises, right? And yeast is one of the ways that you can get a rise in a bread. And sourdough doesn't need yeast. It just works its own bacterial magic and makes a delicious, tangy loaf of bread for you. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what to do next. So I went on the King Arthur Flour website, and I'm using their Naturally Leavened Sourdough Bread recipe. It calls for the sourdough starter, unbleached all-purpose flour and whole wheat flour, some water, and a little bit of salt. And that is it. This first step that we're going to do, we're going to be basically mixing together our flour, our water, our starter, and then we let it sit for a short amount of time, 20 minutes, and this allows the flour to absorb the water, which starts the dough's gluten formation, and it makes it easier to knead. So I've already pre-measured my flour. Here it is. That's the whole wheat and the all-purpose. Here's my water, and now I need to measure out my sourdough. Here's a shot of my amazingly looking, beautiful sourdough. When it was started last night, after I fed it, it was probably about here. I took a little bit of the sourdough I had left over, I put flour and water in it, and then throughout last night and part of today, it's now doubled in size. It looks nice and bubbly in there. It is definitely ready. So I need to measure out a certain amount of that for my bread. Everyone say hi to Max. My old man cat. Max, say hi. Max. Hi, Max. So first I want to go ahead and mix it down a little. Just a little bit. Alright, here we go. I need 227 grams. Oh, that was perfect. And if you're baking with a kitty, unfortunately kitty likes to be with you sometimes. Alright, here we go. So now it's just gonna sit, and I'll be back after about 20 minutes. See you soon. Okay, it's been about 20 minutes. Now we're going to add our salt, and we're going to knead the dough until it's smooth and supple, though somewhat still soft and tacky. When it's fully kneaded, we're going to place it back in the bowl and cover it, and then it rises for another hour. So again, just get my hands a little wet. All right, into the bowl. Ooh, sticky. Ooh. Of course, the King Arthur site shows that she has a specific tool for this, but I don't have that, so we just have to fight our way into the bowl. Okay, it's been an hour, and as we can see, we've grown up a little bit. We've gotten a little bigger. This step, we're going to turn it out onto a floured surface and then fold it like a business letter. We'll turn it at 90 degrees, flatten it a little, and fold it again. We then put it back in the bowl, and it'll rise for another hour. Alright, so it's been an hour. We are now going to pre-shape our dough. I made enough dough for one loaf of bread. The recipe calls for 2, and the instructions on King Arthur flour talks about dividing it because you have enough bread dough for 2 loaves. But I only have 1, so I'm only going to shape for 1. Alright, it's been 20 minutes. We are now going to shape into our bowl. I'm going to do a bowl. You could, of course, do whatever you want. We want a nice tight round. We're going to place it seam side up when we're done in a floured cloth inside our bowl. There's also a special cloth bread thing that you could put it in, but I don't have that, so I'm just going to be flouring one of my lovely napkins that I have that's clean. So here we go. Here he is. He's been sitting. There we go. We are on our final rise. We are supposed to let it rise for 2 to 2.5 hours. So So I will see you in 2 to 2.5 hours. And then I forgot to turn the video back on. I've prepped my oven at this point to 450 degrees with my pizza stone in the oven and a cast iron skillet. My dough has sat for 2 to 2.5 hours and is ready to be turned out onto parchment paper. Not wax paper, it has to be parchment paper. Once you turn it out, it then gets slid into the oven. And you see here I've now turned it out onto the parchment paper and then lightly scored the top with a sharp knife, or if you are fancy enough to have it, a lame. Here we are in the oven. You can see my cast iron pan down below and the breadstone. It'll cook for around 35 minutes. Alright folks, I figured I'd at least film taking it out. It's going off in about 50 seconds. I'm also making dinner right now, so put my dinner in really quick. Putting some Trader Joe's porcini and truffle ravioli, which would be delicious. Alright, I'm just going to turn my timer off. Here we go. And there you have it. One delicious looking piece of sourdough bread. I am thrilled with this. It looks amazing. I cannot describe the smell to you. I wish I could. It's rich and bready smelling and warm and inviting. Let's go ahead and grab my phone. Get a real good look at it. Oh yeah. Probably could have taken out just a few minutes earlier. What do you think, Max? Do you want some bread? Yeah. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed watching me make sourdough bread. It is not hard, it just takes time. So if you're willing to put in a little bit of time to make your own bread, go for it. What do we have else right now but time? So go ahead, like I said, go on King Arthur Flour. Their website is the best source for information about making sourdough and sourdough products. They have tons of great recipes and lots of great advice. One more time, thank you to Horseshoe Cafe, Sarah at Horseshoe Cafe, for giving me the bit of starter that she gave me to get started. And I hope you all have great and fun baking adventures. Bye.
Yo, 起きてっか深夜続行としろ水拳騒動辻切り飛び蹴り覚悟しろ